The words I want you, for those taking notes, it's give yourself, and I want you to underline it, give yourself totally to your people, meaning the message you're trying to produce, the vision you're trying to share. You need to give yourself to them. You need to be able to take your people and bring them along and give yourself, because if you're giving to the vision, but not to the people, it's called selfishness. Now, number 7, here's the difference. You have to believe totally in the people. Now, remember, number 6 was give yourself. Number 7 is believe totally in the people. Good morning. Happy Monday to everybody. Man, we got some familiar. What up? My cousin's here. Rob's here. Mike down in Texas. Phil, welcome, Phil. Sandy is always, boy, Chad from South Kakalaka. What's up, brother? How we doing? Mike Kastner. I just literally like, I can't really tell you what I did because it's not a nice word, but I just blew up Mike's ear. I was like, I had so much to tell him because it's May 1st. It is May 1st, guys. I was just telling Mike, I said, I don't know if people realize this, but we're 2 months away from the first half of 2023. Like in real estate, like your closings are in June now. Like there's only 1 month left of the first half of the year. The first 2 quarters are already gone. It just does not seem possible already that is taking shape. And if you're not paying attention to your calendar, there's a little heads up for you. So good morning, everybody. Good morning, Facebook world. Good morning to everybody. If this is your first time being on here, tell us where you're from. Give us a shout out. Say good morning. You know how I get when I say good morning to Amy saying good morning. Colin from Seattle. What's up, brother? How we all doing today? Hopefully everybody had a great weekend. And it is a busy week. We got Coach Burt. Let me just tell you, as Chad knows, and several of you have been, Stephanie and several with Coach, when he's got an event, it's pretty intense. And I've been blessed and fortunate now to be on a couple of events with him. And he just like, he'll text blast you. And it's like, all right, we're going to be talking about activating tomorrow. But so for those that are still thinking about it, come on board tomorrow, 10 to 4. Coach will be with us all day. We got happy hour. You can pick our brains. So just really excited for that. Phil's here. You got a neighbor from Scott from Michigan. Good morning, Scott, up there. I'm starting to see leaves up there, Scott. I think I'm starting to see leaves up there. So good morning. So guys, as we start every morning with our affirmation this morning, everybody's saying it together now. Something good is going to happen to me. Something good is going to happen through me. My name is Brock Zivan. I'm a life coach, business coach, real estate agent, and a dad. It was a non-dad weekend for me, but still a dad weekend. I got to see Bryce Boy in soccer this weekend. Brielle gave me a little bit of some attitude, so I am learning at the age of 10 and 11. For those that have older kids, it was a little, Brielle and I had a little fun this weekend having our little, and I only had her for like an hour playing soccer. And I'm like, all right, Brielle. So I asked for patience. I went to church yesterday and I asked for patience with my daughter, Brielle. So, but as we do each and every morning, well, on Mondays, we do mornings with Maxwell. For those that know and understand, I am becoming a certified coach with John Maxwell. So excited to be part of that. I finish it up this August when I go down to Florida. And so the book that I've been reading, and Jay, if you can put it in the chats for us here. So if you like to get it, the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And we break down each one of the laws. And today's law is number 10. It is one of my favorite ones, yet most my challenging one. Good morning, Karen. And the reason why it's a challenging one I'll share with you is because of my personality. We're going to talk about understanding ourselves in this process, but the law of connection and the word that comes with it, the underlying part is leaders touch a heart before they ask for a hand. Leaders will touch a heart before they ask for a hand. And you might be saying like, well, Brock, what are you, some sort of jackass? Like, how come why is this so challenging for you? And the reason is because it's emotionally and relationally the two ingredients for the law of connection. And the reason why I have this challenge, give me a thumbs up or someone tell me or put it in the chat. How many of you are high Ds in the disc analysis? How many of you are high Ds? Tell me if you're a high D or not. Not Chad's wiggling his ear, so I'm not too sure if that means a yes or no. But for those that are high D, I'm action based. Like I get frustrated when things aren't moving at a fast enough level. And so Jay, who's my virtual assistant, who's my ops manager, she had about 20 different tasks sent to her this morning because my personality is action based. So if you haven't listened to Ed Milet of The Power of One More, I strongly recommend it. The reason why he became broke as a joke to being a multi-millionaire, meaning like 8-9 figure millionaire, was he developed relationships at an extreme level. Okay. And the law of connection had a lot to do with this. And so when he looked at the emotional and relationship level, I'm learning how to do that because I have to be able, Pat, I have to be able to learn to slow down. Okay. So in the relationships in leadership, they actually go hand in hand. So relationship is actually a form of leadership. And there's a saying here I wrote down. Let's see. Leaders walk through a crowded room slowly. Leaders walk through a crowded room slowly because they are trying to build relationships and communicating. And so in the relationship process, people will not go along with you if they don't get along with you. I'm going to say that again. People will not go along with you if they don't get along with you. All right. Now, how many of you, and Rob, being that my cousin on here, we've gone on many different family vacations together. Okay. Since then, we've grown up, and really, when I look at the ski, even my immediate family, and I say this in a loving way, like there's people in my family that I'd be like, you're my family, I love you, but I don't think I can go on a vacation for a week with you. Like, I just don't feel like our makeup will be good. I would come back and I probably might even start drinking. Like, it would be so intense for me that I would be like, that was not a vacation. How many have that? How many of you that I like to work with you? I love my family, but spending a whole week with you might be a little challenging. How many of you have somebody, maybe a colleague or a member, and you're going to an event or you're going to go to lunch, and right before you leave the door, they say, hey, can I come along with you? And you're like, oh no, like I just was expecting a really nice, relaxing lunch. And all of a sudden this car ride is not going to be what I want, right? Am I talking to somebody this morning and who's been a part of that, right? And that's because what happened is they get along, they go along with us just because they have to, but they don't get along with us and we don't get along with them. And so as a leader, I had to start to understand that everybody has a different personality and I have to work through that. Many times you hear me say leaders have to read the room so they can lead the room. You got to read the room so you can lead the room. How many would agree? Not everybody follows the same way. How many of us have different personalities or we see different personalities that I could poke one of you, but I can't poke the next person. Okay. And so there's a process though. There's this process that we have to grow through as individuals to become likable. And I'm going to be sharing this process here very, very soon here. But there's two ingredients. Okay. Coach Burt calls it, if you want the book, it's called Person of Interest. And John Maxwell is a person of influence. Okay. Person of influence and a person of interest. And what they do is they're making or we're organizing ourselves to become likable. We're organizing ourselves like, man, I got to be around that person. I got to be able to, man, if I could just be around that person just for a little bit, I wonder what that'd be like. I wonder if I'm just start being around these morning shows and how my morning would be. Mike and I, we start every morning, Monday. I don't know how many years we've been doing it. 8:00, him and I talk every Monday at 8:00. It's the way we start our week. How many of you have somebody that in your life? I want you to write down, find somebody to keep you accountable first thing in the morning before even it's 15 minutes. Him and I talk for 15 minutes, but it sets the stage. It sets the parameters for how I want my week to go. Sometimes it's a BS, it's a venting, but we develop this relationship. And so it's important that you work on your likability, and it starts with your appearance, physically, mentally, and spiritually. I'll say that again, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Now, why is that so important? Well, if you want people to follow you and grow with you and go with you, they need to get along with you, and they got to be able to look at you and be like, man, that guy, whether it's spiritually, I didn't become spiritually the way I am in the last 2 years. My life is transformed. And so some of you on this call might be like, man, you know what? I've been missing that. Where do I need to go? Maybe some of you have been like, man, I've been wanting to get in shape. And imagine this, and I'm not trying to be mean, but imagine you go to the gym and you really want to get in shape, and the person who's training you has a donut in one hand and weighs 300 pounds and says, come on, let's get ourselves going here today. I'm really looking forward to this workout. You'd be like, I don't know if this is the person for me for what I want to do, because I love donuts, and here you are holding a donut. It always amazes me at the gym when I go there and they're like giving out bagels, free bagels. I'm like, that is the highest carb food that you can eat in the morning for breakfast, but they got bagels and donuts for you at the gym. Anyways, so what we have to do with the law of connection is there's 9 different ingredients I'm going to share with you this morning and on how to connect with people. Okay. And one of the things I could tell you, I hate to burst everybody's bubble. All right. You cannot connect with you cannot connect with people one time. Coaching, when I coach, I should say, when I speak, I'm to trigger something in your brain. I will not life change you during my speaking event. Today, for me talking to you for 30 minutes, I will not transform your life. That's what coaching does. See, when you go to the gym and you go see the trainer and you work out for an hour, no matter how hard you work, you could puke, you could sweat, you won't physically drastically look different when you go into the mirror that morning. But what it did was it starts to change your behaviors and your attitudes and your mindset when you're going into that. So the number one thing that and John says this is the most important one. If you don't have this, the other 7 or 8 really going to struggle with you. The number one way to start to connect with people is you need to connect with yourself. You need to connect with yourself emotionally, spiritually, and internally. See, I was disconnected inside, okay? My ego, because my drinking has changed, my thinking has not changed. I always have to check my ego and put it on the shelf. Every morning, I have to have conversations with me of being like, okay, Brock, let's get focused today. The world's not out to get you, because we have that victim mindset. But I have to say these every morning. That's why people think I'm crazy, but I've been getting up at 4:40 and I said to myself, I don't think I think I might have to get up at 4:30. I think 4:30 is going to be a thing, because I'm not getting the spiritual aspect, because I got a lot of challenges in my life right now, a lot of personal problems I have. So do I attack the personal, or do I attack what I can control and focus on myself to get myself in a better mindset? So I have connected with myself at an extremely high level to help me when people say, man, how do you handle all that stuff? How do you deal with that? I'm like, well, it's because I've got a good grasp of my mindset. I have a good grasp of me spiritually. So the first one is connect with yourself. The second one, for those that were on my Figure Out Friday, it was all I could do not to cry. And I end up crying, I think 2 or 3 times, and I barely can get in touch with myself. But you have to share your openness and vulnerability. Number 2 is you have to share your openness and vulnerability. I struggle with this one as well. I didn't like to be vulnerable. How many of you have heard that you've been brought up, you got to be tough, you got to be strong, nobody can see me cry? That's how I was. I was brought up in a way that I wasn't like emotion was weakness. How many have heard of that? Emotion was like weakness. I gotta be I'm tough as nails. I could do all that stuff. And so I had to learn. And I remember, Mike, I was speaking at 11 Lakes, and I don't remember exactly which one it was, Mike, but it was almost about a year and a half ago. And we get done. And I said, how was it? He goes, you got it. He goes, my daughter and wife were crying during that one. He's like, I was like, really? He goes, you're taking off to another level now, because you became vulnerable and you became sincere and people could feel it. And so that was a huge thing for me. So you have to be vulnerable. Number 3, this is a tough one for many people, because many people are like, well, I do connect with myself. I do reading and everything else. I'm open. I'm vulnerable. I'm emotional. But the number 3rd one is a stickler. You got to live your message. Number 3 is live your message. If you are willing to ask for it for others, if you're willing to say, hey, I need you to do this, I need this to take place. If you're going to ask your colleagues, your kids, your significant others, this is why I make my phone calls every morning. This is still why I'm in real estate production. and I say this not to impress people, but I still will come close to about 19 million this year on personal production myself. So I'm vested into it. Some people are like, well, Brock, you're not in real estate. How do you know? I said, oh yeah, you can't use that excuse. I'm still in it. I'm still making my phone calls. And I'm a very, very big believer that you got to be involved. You got to be in it. You got to lead what you say by your actions. Mike knows, for those of you, like I go to the gym actually I see my uncle. I see him every morning at the gym. He texts me usually between 4:50 and 5:10. I got people text me that early because it's an accountability thing. And if I'm not at the gym by 5:30, he's texting me, where are you? What are you doing? I'm like, dear Lord, but it's an accountability thing. But I can't tell you guys that I get up at 4:30 if I don't. I can't tell you guys that what I say, my behaviors don't follow suit. There's a saying, I have to be a tour guide, not a travel agent. I have to go along with you. I have to show you what it's there. So some of us want to be a travel agent. This is a beautiful place. This is gorgeous. This is what I want, but not willing to take the tour with them. Hey, we're going to go to Mount Everest. We're going to climb it. Oh, awesome. This is great. I can't wait. Boy, I mean, how are the summits and what does that look like? I have no idea. I just meet you on top. I get a helicopter and I go all the way to the top, but I'll be congratulating you when you're there. Have you ever climbed? Oh, no. But let me just tell you, I think when I last checked, only 5 people died. But I think you're going to be in good hands. Like, imagine that. Be like, I don't know about this anymore. So we want to be a tour guide, not a travel agent. Okay. Number 4, you need to know your people. You got to know what you got going on. You got to know what you're getting into. You got to understand how people work, how people operate. I know what I can say to many of you on here. Some of you new people that I don't know, I love to get to know you. I love to be able to interview for the position to help you. There's several, like Cullen. I can text Cullen. It seems like out of all hours of the night, he's in Seattle right now. He's drinking a cup of coffee. It's 5:30 in the morning. I still could blow up him. And guess what? He'd be like, oh, good morning. Thanks so much. Appreciate you. But some of you, if I text you that early in the morning, why the hell are you texting me so early, Brock? My phone went off. Now I can't sleep. Then woke up the dog. My wife woke up. It was a mess. Like, there's some people I can't do that to, right? So you got to know your people. You got to know what works. You got to know their strengths, their weaknesses. You got to understand. And it's the same thing with your children. How many of us have kids on this call? How many of us know that I can talk to my oldest? So Brielle, it's my 10, my attitude child now. I can't talk the same way as to Bryce, my 4-year-old. It's not going to work. Even if you have twins, you can't talk to them the same. They're different. So I talked to you about how leaders, when you're trying to go into a facility, or not a facility, like you're going into an event, you're going to a conference, you're going to like even family, we had a birthday party yesterday, and I was practicing this yesterday, and you guys think I'm crazy. Okay. For those that know me well enough, I am that crazy. I will go in and I practice with my family. Like, there were people I had no idea, because it was Wendy's daughter-in-law's son's 3-year-old birthday party. Okay. I knew 50% of the people. If I talk the game, I got to take action. I started going up. Hey, how are you? Giving people hugs. She looked at this one girl was like, have we met? I was like, we haven't, but I just want to introduce myself and say hi. How are you doing? So how do you know everybody here? See, to me, this is great, but that's me role playing. That is me practicing, because what are they going to do? Like kick me out? They're coming to our house for the party. So it's like, but you got to practice, because I'm not used to it. So you got to be able to know your people. Number 5, you got to communicate at their level. Communicate at their level. John Maxwell has a saying, you got to put the cookies on the lower shelf. Put the cookies on the lower shelf. There's certain people, certain levels of coaching that I can give. And then there's certain levels that'll be like over their head. And it's not to be like different or anything, but it'll be hard, but you just got to understand who you're talking to. I just told you, I'm not going to talk to Bryce the same way I talk to Brielle. If this is your first time coaching, I'm not going to be intense to you. That makes you like, oh my God. They say educators complicate things. Communicators spell out things. Okay. Educators complicate things with big words and everything else out there. Communicators know how to speak your language, know how to be able to help you. And so you might have some people in your environment, in your area, that you're just educating them, and they're like, what is he talking about? You need to communicate. All right, these next two are important, and they also sometimes I had to like listen to this thing, read it, listen to it several times. So listen to me first, number 6. The words I want you, for those taking notes, it's give yourself, and I want you to underline it, give yourself totally to your people. Give yourself totally to your people, meaning the message you're trying to produce, the vision you're trying to share. You need to give yourself to them. You need to be able to take your people and bring them along and give yourself, because if you're giving to the vision, but not to the people, it's called selfishness. See, many times people are like, they're just doing that for their own business. They're just doing that to grow. Okay. And unfortunately, in our real estate industry, in any multi-level platforms, what happens is I hear a lot of, you're just trying to bring me on board so you can have me underneath you as an agent and just bring me on board. Like, you don't care about me, because the next day they vanished. Freaking hounded you, hunted you down for like 3 months. And then as soon as you came on board, hey, congratulations, crickets. See, they became selfish in themselves. The vision and the message that they had was just unto them. They didn't believe in the people. I mean, they didn't give themselves to the people. You have to be able to work both sides. Now, vice versa, if you only believe in the people, that's called a rocking chair. You're going to go nowhere. I could be your biggest cheerleader and pour into you. And this is what I learned is I coached, I spoke, I did everything for the applause. I was like, man, everything's going good. The people love me. This is great. This was awesome. But it never took my business to the next level. It never brought me to the next level. So you can't just believe in just the people without the vision, because then you're going to be in a rocking chair doing a lot of activity, but in the same place. I always tell people to be a wheelchair, because a wheelchair, you can move around. Take the same energy that you did for the rocking chair, put it into a wheelchair, and you can move around. You could talk to people. You could work the room. So be a wheelchair, but you got to give totally to the people. Now, number 7, here's the difference. You have to believe totally in the people. Now, remember, number 6 was give yourself. Number 7 is believe totally in the people. Now, I wrote this down here, so I got to make sure I say it right. Many times people believe in the leader. So because I'm presenting, I'm the coach, I'm standing in front of the room, people believe in me, like, oh man, let me listen more to him. But when a leader believes, now remember, giving and believing are different. When I tell people all the time, like, what was the difference in my life that transformed and how I started to attract more and more people on this call and doing these things and carrying it to this level, it was like people started to believe in me and I believed in them. And the belief started to really impact it. Like when I go listing presentations, people are like, we're going to have you. We'd like to have you to lead or to take the listing. I said, oh, okay, well, I definitely appreciate that. And of course, I'm excited. I said, is there anything different that stood out for me to like the other agents? Like, we just believe you're going to sell it. Like, you'll figure out a way to sell this house in some capacity. We just believe in you. See, but I had to believe in myself first that I could do the job. And that comes with confidence. We also, and the other thing is I do a lot of stories that comes to vulnerability. So I share the vision. I share what I'm going through, what I'm growing through, and how it's impacted my life. On Friday, I shared with you what happened to me in 2019. I was an emotional mess at certain parts of it because I felt it inside of me that happened 4 years ago. And some of you reached out to me and said, I was crying during that time period as well. Like you felt it that much. And so that's the vulnerability that you're looking for. Number 8. Oh, I'm sorry. That was number 8. Sorry. Number 8 was you have to share how the vision impacted you. So number 7 is believe totally in the people. Number 8 is share how the vision has impacted you. That was my story. I didn't put a little space here. So how the vision impacted me, what it meant to me, what I've gone through, what I've grown through. And number 9, the last one is offer direction and hope. Offer direction and hope. John put on here, leaders are dealers of hope. He says, just become a hope dealer. Go around like, what do you do? I'm a hope dealer. Like, go out there and give people hope, give people direction. What I'm learning, and I just applied for this Catholic young professionals group that I'm looking to speak to. And they have there's a national speakers association with it that you can speak to in a regional one here in Charlotte. And literally, in a quick side note, in reference to share how the vision's impacted me, I've been trying to figure out how to get involved in the church. I've been trying to figure out how I can speak my message and help young people. And no joke, guys, I wish I had it with me here. I must put it in my other bag. But no, I don't have it. In the bulletin, in the church bulletin, in the bottom right-hand corner, it had looking for board members to get involved in the Catholic Young Professionals. I was reading it. I looked up at the altar and I was looking at the cross and I was like, you got me again here. Wasn't expecting here at church, but that changed me. I immediately went home Sunday afternoon while the party's going on, because I told you I worked the room, and then I went back to my office and I was like, I got to get this email out. I got to tell these people this is what I want to do. And I emailed them. This is how important it is, how it was to me, because I want to give millennials, young people hope, because they have no direction. They have no guidance. And so when I shared my story in conclusion, the messages that I got from people, like my life was a complete shit show, a disaster in 2019, as you all heard about it. Okay. And if you haven't heard it, go back to last Friday to listen to it. But I gave people hope that day. They're like, man, I didn't know you went through that. I didn't understand you had all that. To today, to being able to have 4 different income streams and to trying to get the 5th on the way, like my life has transformed. But it's because of the way I connect, the way I'm with people, the way I push out, the way I follow these 9 things, the way I find these 21 laws, is I want to give you hope today that you can do what I'm doing today. And for those that are in our area, for those that are on this call, you have what it takes to do this. All I do is I read, I follow, I pray, and I just take action. As Ed Milet says and Tony Robbins, massive action. And my favorite line is action creates clarity. Action creates clarity. Guys, that is what I have. It is 8:45 on the button. Sometimes Christian and I always talk when I do this. He goes, man, how do you end it? Like always like at that time. I said, I have no idea. It just, it's like I look at it and it just ends. So it is 8:45. Guys, I really appreciate all of you on here. If you liked what I said, put it in the comments. Give me some hearts. Give me some loves on Facebook. Put it in the chat because we do look at the chat. I appreciate everybody being on here. Our main man, Mr. Chad, will be leading tomorrow at 8:15. He will be with us. I can only imagine what we got going on, but I always love his passion and what he brings to the table. Next Monday, it'll be mornings with Maxwell again, and Friday, it's our Figured Out Friday. But if you are thinking, if I spoke to you today, you're like, you know what, maybe I should just get in the room with this crazy nut tomorrow. 10 to 4, 9:30 to 4. We got breakfast, we got lunch, we got happy hour, we got appetizers. It is an orchestra of different food because food and drinks always are like just a fun little thing when you do events. So we'll be doing that tomorrow. If you are, hit me up, email me, text me. God bless you all. Thank you so much for being on here. Love you, and we'll see you tomorrow at 8:15. See ya.